Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Joy, and today I have a video for you guys about identity, the identity crisis in grief. So if you don't know, I'm a widow, and I'm also the blessed mom to 4 incredible babies that I love so dearly. And over here, I make videos, you guys, that show all the raw, honest truth, the heartache, the happiness, the learning curves in grief. You know, I'm walking through my loneliness, I'm navigating the unknown, and I'm jumping super far out, way out of my comfort zone to create a new beautiful life for myself and for my kids. And I want you to take along with me. I want you to come and learn with me and share your truths and share your pain, and let's use it and build up a community here. Most importantly, I want you to know this is a safe space. So you can comment below. You will get nothing but love and encouragement from me. And I'm just super happy you're here. If this is something that sounds like intriguing to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And I cannot wait to share more of my story with you. Identity. I debated cutting this part of the video out because I can't even say the word without it bringing tears to see my journey through identity and grief. But I'm not going to cut it out because this is real and raw. And that's the number one thing I want my videos to represent for you guys. So I'm gonna take a moment and let you be in this with me. This is grief. This is the reality. And I want to side note real quick that tears are a really good thing. Please don't ever apologize for crying. You won't catch me apologizing. I learned that from some really good friends of mine, Hoops and Phil, that just reminded me that these tears are healing. And I actually really enjoy crying now. I always feel so good after a big, heavy cry. So I want to encourage you to not hold the tears in and not embrace that it's okay to feel that in the moment and just let it all out. It feels so good. I really like crying now. Whew. So identity. The identity crisis after someone so close to you passes. Who am I now? I don't know if this resonates with all of you. It certainly was a huge part of my journey. And as I see friends and other widows who are walking through the loss of their spouse, it played a big role in all of our stories. And it's really deep and really painful for me as I watch friends journey through that and I see them, you know, taking the steps that I had to take. And it's also kind of beautiful. Like it's really amazing at the same time as it is heartbreaking. Identity, the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. The identity and the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. So this video is going to be a little bit of story time for all of the milestones that I have hit in coming through losing kind of everything. You know, I'll say I grew up and I am a little bit of an organized type A person, and I knew that I wanted to be a wife. I knew that God created that inside me. This was like a longing, deep passion that I recognized God had put in my heart. And I probably went a little bit intense. Like as a child, I remember thinking like of having like this checklist of like what my life was going to look like, who I was as a person, what my identity looked like. It was like, you know, I just had this goals list and all this just very intense for a young child, that I already had this idea of I was going to buy a house and I was going to live here and I was going to be married by I was 20. And I had just these checklists of like, you know, playing it safe and having Joy's plan and what Joy's life looked like, instead of leaning in and trusting God and asking him what that was really going to look like. But it was something early on inside of me that God had inspired and instilled in me, that I was going to be a wife and a mom. And I'm so thankful. I'm really thankful for that. Even if it's sad and it's hard to say it now, I'm really thankful even in the painfulest moments. Like today, it's a hard day. And it's heavy on my soul, the pain of knowing that I'm not a wife and losing my best friend. It's hard. but I'm excited and I'm thankful, and I enjoy these moments. Usually it's private and I'm in my room and I'm praying or I'm journaling, or I'll be with my kids. I definitely will have these moments with my kids, and I don't shy away from sharing that with them, but it's not usually on camera like this. But I always want to bring this and share this part with you guys, because a lot of time you see me really bubbly and holding it down real well, and that's about like 95% of my life. I'm really in good spirits and just enjoying life and thankful. But then there are days like this where I realize God is taking that pain and he's using it and he's growing me today. And so I wanted to come on here in the rawness and not cheat my way out and edit out the tears and edit out the raw. This video may be a little bit messier than usual, but I'm going to share it all with you. So early on, I had that identity of wanting to be a wife. I had that desire and passion given from God. And I believe it's a gift from God. And I'm really thankful that he put that in my heart, and that I got to share some amazing years with Antoine and just embrace and bond and come together as one with Antoine so strongly. It was such a beautiful thing that I'm so thankful for. And any of you who have been married a long time, you know how incredibly empowering that is. And even now, as I stand here and I've lost Antoine and I've lost my marriage and my best friend, and I've had to say goodbye to that identity, I'm still thankful and I'm grateful. Even sitting in the pain, I'm thankful for this pain, because it meant I had to lose something. I actually lost something of value, something that I cherished and put a lot into. It just shows me how powerful and beautiful that relationship was, because it hurt so deep. So I want to share a little story of, I don't even remember when it was, y'all. I want to say it was October, maybe November. It was rather soon after Antoine's passing. My identity was a big issue for me, because the idea of the word single parent, oh my gosh, it was a battle for me, you guys. It was something that I don't know if I was angry, but I want to say I probably was in my heart. Like, I probably was angry. I was butting heads, I think, with God about this, that, I just wasn't going to be happy about it. I wasn't going to be grateful. I wasn't going to find a positive light for that word. And the fact of having the title that I longed for and loved and just enjoyed, like, I really loved being a wife, and having that taken from me was really hard. And it also blossomed and opened up so many opportunities and windows for me to really see how I was hiding behind just wife and not dreaming, exploring, or looking for what else God had for my soul and heart, and what avenues he was going to use in me and help me bless other people and be a tool. And so when I took the time, well, I don't know if I took the time. Let me rephrase that. God was looking at me and was like, okay, she's not really listening. And so this was probably about 6-7 weeks after Antoine passed. God took me into church, and there was an incredible sermon on names that we place on ourselves, names that someone in this world has placed on us, or that the world has identified us as, and those names that they've given us. And some are really positive. It's not always that they're negative. They can be negative and ugly. They could be really positive and beautiful. But are they the names that God has placed on you? Are they the names that you should be putting your identity into and claiming and representing? And this sermon was just incredible. And I think it was like a 3-week sermon. But it gave us the opportunity to pick up name tags, the sticky ones that we all had as kids. And we all hated to like wear our name and look like a little nerd with our name tag on us. They had those name badges, and I got to sit down and just start writing, you guys, and write out all of these names that I collected in the past 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it was, of just loneliness and fear and single mom and widow, and like these things that I had seen as so ugly, so broken, just words that I didn't want to be my identity. I didn't want to associate with. And man, was I fighting it. But I started writing them down, and I'm crying, of course, just a mess. And I mean, anyone who saw me in this past year knows, like, I just have like raccoon eyes constantly because I'm always crying. Now it's good cry, but at the moment. It was the heavy, wet, soggy, messy cry. And I wrote down these names, and I didn't even know what name I was going to trade it for, because that's the thing, is in this church sermon, you write down all the name tags, and you go and you put them in this box in front of a cross and get rid of that identity and let go of those names, even if they're good things. But that wasn't going to be what completely owned you, what you were going to represent, you know, that you were giving them over to God, you were releasing that. And the name tag that I picked up to write a new name and you put it on yourself that Sunday was Daughter of God. And that was one of the most healing moments for me, because I realized I didn't have to know exactly who I was in the world or how I was going to make it as a single mom or who I would be as an employee. All of those names did not matter, because at that point I was just stepping forwards in faith and saying, okay, God, you got this, and you have an identity, and as long as I am with you, you'll take me forwards, and you'll create something beautiful out of the ashes. And that was the week that I took off my wedding ring, and I set it aside and put it in a box for my children later on, because that was the symbol for me that I was going to say. It was symbolic for me to say that being a wife isn't everything. This is not my entire identity. And I will be okay. And I will go forwards as Joy, a daughter of God. And I will make new things. And in the meantime, that is enough. Just that is enough. And I will get through this. And I'm going to have a beautiful life. And I know that God has got something amazing that he's going to work with me through that. I had no idea. This was 8 weeks on. Now I look back and I just look at the journey and the milestones, and I'm so beyond blessed. So one big thing I always want to mention when I share my life is I don't do this to be like, your life needs to look exactly like mine, and this is how you go from point A to point B, and here's all the steps and everything will go perfectly for you. Your journey will be different from mine. I just want to share and show you some helpful tools, hopefully, or some of my life experience, just so you know that you're not alone in this. One thing, though, I feel like needs to be said is that if you're walking through grief of someone very close, especially your spouse, there's a certain level of laying down the old so that you can pick up the new. And I know that sounds similar to some things that I've even said in my old videos. If you've watched them, you'll know that this is just kind of a theme, and it's a level of release, of recognizing that whether you're holding so tightly to your old life and you refuse to let go of that, or you're clinging so tightly to fear or heartache over here or anger over here, or protecting your children so tightly, whatever things that this trauma has made you grasp onto, bloody knuckle, just white knuckled finger holding so tightly to it, it's time to lay down, start releasing. I promise it will feel better. And I want to share with you some personal details real quick about my journey. I was a single mom, I was a stay-at-home mom that was homeschooling her kids, was, in this happy marriage. Absolutely everything that could have flipped upside down and changed with Antoine's passing changed. Every aspect of my life had to change. And so I bring that to you, not to show off or not to say, look at this. I bring it to you because I want you to know that I understand. It is so much easier to cling tightly because this feels safe. This feels familiar. This feels comfortable. Even anger, if you've been in it long enough, or grief or heartache, it all feels comfortable and familiar. So we'd rather hang on to it than just lay it down. But I think that you deserve a chance at this new identity. Are you going to take that chance? Do you think that you deserve it? And I can't promise you that it will be better than your old life and your amazing, wonderful life with your spouse that you're missing so dearly. I don't know what it will look like for you, but I can tell you for me, I'm super grateful. Every single day, I'm so thankful that I've taken these steps to lay down the old identity and be okay with picking up a new one. And I didn't have to know exactly what that new one looks like. I'm still truthfully figuring out what that new identity will look like. But I'm excited for it, and I'm taking steps forwards to it, even if I don't know exactly what I want yet. And I hope that you will take a chance to take some of those steps and at least try something new on. Try on something new, you know, or even work on this week just letting go of some of the old so there's space for the new. Because I am really happy. I'm really excited. I'm really thankful in this new life that I'm creating. And every single day I find new things that bring me joy, that make me smile, and it breaks my heart to think if I was still back in square one, clinging so tightly to that identity of, I want to be a wife, and so I'm going to stay here and hold on to it. So a couple of quick helpful tools that you've heard me say before, because they may seem repetitive, but it's those simple things, you guys. The simplest tools and steps have been detrimental and just huge, just in every way huge. These tiny simple tools, but huge effects in my life. 1, an extremely strong support system. 2, journaling. Journal and prayer have been so detrimental that I could get what's inside out, that I can process through what is going on in. Because a lot of times you don't know what's always in here. It's just expressing itself in emotions and anger, and you know, it's kind of coming out of you and you don't really have any control. So journaling and prayer. And then for me, this may not be like you at all, but I'm very symbolic. So for me, laying down my identity as a wife was taking off my ring and putting that away and saying, I trust you more, God, than my own desire. I am not pushing you by any means to take off your wedding ring if you're not ready for that. But big gestures sometimes give us a place to put and release and leave it with God. So with that, I just am praying over you. Please reach out to me if you feel that you need some prayer this week. I will be praying and think for all the widowers walking this week as we walk through identity and what that feels like and what that looks like. All right, you have a blessed week.